Hello and welcome to the Comedian's Paradise. This is where we speak to mavericks, John Wicks. We talk to intriguing characters from across the comedy globe, who have amazing stories that will transfix us. Now, today's guest is a burlesque performer, an actress, a comedian, and a showrunner in a theatre. She's a lady that has many stories to tell and is an absolute storm. Please welcome Joy Harvey.
Hi. Hello. How's it going?
It's
Oh,
good.
clap, clap. Me and you.
It's a pleasure to get you
Well,
on,
I'm
Joy.
talking to each other.
What did you think of my
Thanks for
intro?
having me.
How did that?
I thought it was lovely. I'm not a showrunner, by the way, in the theatre. Like I just work in like a department. Yeah,
But
in a theatre.
you play a part in making everything spruced up. For anyone that's listening right now and listening like, yo, Joy sounds like a girl that I want to, no, so for anyone that's listening like, yo, Joy sounds like someone I want to find the story of, how, how, how did you get to being the performer you are today? Like, how did you get into burlesque and how did you become a stand-up? What happened there?
So I basically, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Robin Williams, the actor.
Yeah.
You know Robin Williams? So I used to watch like Mork and Mindy all the time, and I always used to be to my parents like, "Oh, I want to be a comedian. I want to be a comedian." And then I think because there were so many like male comics and stuff on TV when I was younger, I was just like, "Oh, maybe I'll just be like an actress instead." So I basically kind of went through school like really, really shy, but like wanting to be an actress. And then in the last year of school, I got like the lead part in the school play. And let me tell you why that is, okay? It's because I went to all girls school and the lead part of this play was a monkey and no one wanted to play a monkey. So I managed to get that from being the only person that wanted to audition for it. And then I went to uni and did a drama degree. Again, because I was too shy to like audition for drama school, but it was like a really practical degree. And from that, I was like, okay, I'm going to be an actress. But then I kind of just, like life got in the way. Like, you're just trying to like earn money at the same time as like being creative. Um, and then I think I just got kind of fed up of like nothing really happening. So I decided, like on a whim, to take like a burlesque class. And then through that, I started doing burlesque. This was like 2013. Yeah, 2013 was when I started doing burlesque. So I was part of this troupe called the Burlesque Babes. Um, and then, yeah, I went on to kind of continue doing that for a couple of years. One competition, and then I was a bit like, oh, have I completed this? I hadn't, by the way. And then basically this is like going to sound like so lame. I was with a guy at the time who didn't like me doing burlesque. And I was like, okay, like, not that you should ever do what your boyfriend says, because shouldn't. I mean, within reason. Like you shouldn't let people control what you do. Do you know what I mean? But I was a bit like, oh my God, I love him so much. Um, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll try like comedy instead. And he was like, well, you're not funny though. And then like a month later we broke up and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try comedy just to just to prove him wrong. And I've been doing it like ever since.
Hmm.
Yeah. Which I know it's like such a lame story.
But what's the? I'll say one thing on this. What is the what is the element that is? What's the element where someone's saying like their boundary that they're not happy with, and what's the element of them being controlling? Because I think boundary, from my side,
Oh,
this is my personal opinion. I like it when people. I didn't used to like it, but sometimes I like it when people let me know when I'm doing something that's bothering them, or if I'm doing some. I like it when people voice that I'm doing something wrong because then I can't read people's minds. And I like it when people
well,
give me boundaries, and I think that's that
his
when they're clear from both sides, and it's not like a controlling way. I think that's good. That's my opinion.
his whole thing was he was like, oh, all these guys are gonna like you. And I was like, first of all, the only people that come to burlesque shows are gay men and burlesque and other burlesque dancers. So you've got nothing to worry about. And secondly, like I would never cheat on you kind of thing. Like he was worried that I was gonna go off and cheat on him, which is just like insane. So I would never like I'm not a cheater. Like it's one of those things that I have real kind of moral standing with that. Just because, it's happened to me before in previous relationships. And I just think it's disgusting. But Sorry, I went off on a tangent. Um, I don't think someone telling you what to do in a relationship is ever like on, like they can give you like their opinion and say like I'm not happy with you doing this,
Yeah.
and you can
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
come
Yes.
to a
Yes. Yes.
decision
Yes.
from that. But like someone being like, I don't like you doing this, so you need to stop. It's just like, yeah, nah.
Oh, okay. But it was like an order from him rather than like a request.
Not really. It was more like he wouldn't let it go. And like also, I don't want to brag on him too much. This is just like me bragging on an ex-boyfriend.
So
It's just like, yeah, it's in the past. It's fine.
the past is the
It
past.
was years ago.
But
The past is the past, exactly.
now, being a sort of burlesque performer and being a comedian, how do you find the two worlds? Like, how do you find the people in it? Because I spoke to Luke Meredith, like he works in PVH, and he tells me straight away, in the cabaret world and in the stand-up world, cabaret performers get paid way more than comedians. One of the things
Oh,
is they're better at getting requesting money. They're better, they've got like a distinct skill where they can go and ask, so they feel more comfortable asking for more money.
but do you know what it is? You know, part of that. So, like, obviously, when you do like cabaret and stuff, like one of the reasons I like doing comedy so much now is like when I was doing burlesque, you'd spend like, 2 hours getting ready before, like, this is before the show, 2 hours getting ready, doing your makeup, doing your hair, like stretching, making sure that like you're flexible and supple enough to like go out and do these like routines. Like, even though it's like only 5 minutes on stage, you might be requesting like hundreds of pounds for it, but like you've already put in like so much effort because a lot of burlesque performers will make their own costumes. Obviously, they'll choreograph the stuff themselves. Then like a lot of the costumes, like they might not look all that, but like a lot of effort goes into them, and like obviously some of the materials. So like the amount of girls that will like have a Primark bra but put like Swarovski crystals on it is like, it's a lot. Um, so that I think that is one of the reasons why they feel like they can ask for more. Like I'll tell you something though, like drag performers get paid way more than burlesque performers,
Oh,
like
really?
way more. And I think, yeah, I think it's just better. It's because they're better at advocating for themselves. Because like obviously, like normally, I mean, not to generalize, because there is like such a spectrum of like, genders and stuff doing both of them. There's burlesque, there's boylesque, there's drag queens, there's drag kings, there's like bio queens, like there's like a whole like thing. But like back like even like 10 years ago, like you would see majority people doing burlesque would be like cis women, majority people doing drag would be cis men. And I think it's one of those kind of like, not to be like gender pay gap, but I think it is that like, guys are a little bit used to be a little bit more comfortable with like asking for more and like demanding more and like paying each other more and stuff. And like, whereas like a lot of promoters for drag are like, men, a lot of promoters for burlesque are men as well. Like obviously there's like loads of women, but you know, I've got a point in my head. I'm not really getting to it. I'm sorry. But yeah, so like the difference between that and comedy is that, like, with comedy, if I have a gig, I'm like hanging, like I'll finish work at 5, I'll hang around for 2 hours and I'll be like, okay, cool time now, and then just turn up. Like there's nothing I'm doing during that time except for like writing jokes if I feel like I need to write new jokes. Like obviously like there is still prep for it, but it just it's a kind of different skill.
But okay, so it's a different skill, and
Mhm.
it's but okay. So burlesque performers feel that they need to get paid more because of all the preparation they put beforehand. But
Oh yeah, you're literally like sometimes you'll spend like, 72 hours just making a costume. Like just like, putting like gluing Swarovskis onto it or like any kind of like crystals or like whatever. And then obviously you have to like choreograph it. You have to like make sure that you're like prepared before you go on stage. Whereas with their comedy, like especially for like open mics and stuff, a lot of the time you're just like going up there with like a notebook and being like, does this work? I'm gonna throw this at the wall and see if it sticks. Like I'm not saying they're not both skills, they're just different skills.
and what about the? And you said that the drag world gets paid more. That bit I still didn't get. Like why are they so? What? It's just that what they're is it is they've had to fight harder? What's the thing that's made drag performers earn a lot more and fight for better wages?
I think it's well, I think it is like the kind of gendered thing, really. Like I'm not like obviously I'm like generalizing here. I don't want to get like, killed for saying this. But like back in the day when I was like fully like in the scene and stuff, like a lot of the drag performers were cis men. So like it's a
Oh,
gender pay gap thing.
okay,
So even though do you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
okay, fair
It's just
enough.
that like women have only just more recently started advocating for like, higher pay and stuff. Like even in like the not entertainment world. Like for myself, I've only asked for a pay rise like I think like within the past like 5 years in like my day job, I've only felt comfortable enough being like, you're not paying me enough, you need to pay me enough.
Hmm.
But I think it's just like a learning thing. I mean, hopefully in the future, like because like both I think the drag and the burlesque scene are now like way more diverse than they were like back even in like 2013. So I think there's like hopefully they're going to be like more like equality when it comes to like pay, but they are like even though they're both kind of technically cabaret, they are like different as well, even though you will see like a drag performer at a burlesque show or a burlesque performer at a drag show, you know.
Is there a lot of, are you able to perform like 4 times a week and like rehearse and practice things that you do in stand up? Or is there so much like
That
you
you
can't do
could,
that?
but I just don't think there are enough shows. Unless you've got like a regular gig. So unless you've got like a casino gig. So like obviously you get the girls at work, doing like all of the shows at like the Grosvenor, not the Grosvenor, the Hippodrome and stuff. Like I think especially since the pandemic, there's just like a lot less kind of I see like a lot less ads and stuff for it.
Hmm.
It's like Facebook is like one of the places where you get booked in that.
Okay. Oh, okay, fair enough.
I mean,
Uh,
I like saying that I have been like kind of out of the scene pretty much since like 2018. Last time I properly was like deep into performing was like Edinburgh Fringe 2018 was when I went and was like doing burlesque stuff. So like I'm 6 years out of date. It could be completely different and I could just be in the wrong, looking in the wrong places for jobs and stuff. I just feel like I'm not seeing as many advertised, but then sometimes it can be word of mouth when it comes to these kind of things.
yeah, I just find it interesting because I speaking to Luke Meredith a couple of weeks ago, he said that in the Edinburgh Fringe in August, it's his biggest payday. When I hear about, as a performer, I hear about stand-ups and it's their biggest loss of the year. So it was intriguing to hear that. And he was saying things about Edinburgh accommodation, about how it's not as bad as people make out.
Really?
That's what he said.
Like,
I Yeah, it's expression. But one thing, what would you say? So from being with actors and being with comedians and through burlesque performers, what would you say is the fishy thing with
the
performance?
fishy
Because
thing.
let me explain one thing that I've come across, and you can see what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So, and this is from experience that I had from people that I mixed with in theatre rather than comedy. Um, the thing that I've had that's negative with some of the people in sort of theatre or clown stuff is that the thing is they portray themselves as very good, decent people. And I feel that with comedy, there's an element of that I see with comedians where we don't do that as much, try and pretend to be as good as we are. But in those communities where I had that, and I've had experience of them where I've had some really iffy situations, and I'd much rather when people claim to be humans, like none of us are perfect, don't claim to be whiter than white. So I had one instance with someone who is one of those people, fellow Asian as well. He effectively, what I did a backflip and I wasn't able to walk for a while. This person goes in and like when I was sat down in the class and doing all exercises, I wasn't able to look. He would come in, so he'd stand in front of me and try to, so no, when no one was looking, try to kick my foot by accident, but he missed. But no one would see it and see that he was a dodgy person. I remember I was standing on the edge of a staircase or something. I said, "You, could you not move there? Easy." And he said, "I don't care you." And I said, "Will you get lost then?" And then he tried to square up to me. But to everyone else, he was portraying as a good person. and then he would say all sorts of underhanded comments, and he's able to portray himself as a good person. Now, that's my experiences with him, but no one else sort of saw that, and I decided that after the score that I wouldn't really contact the mix with him because one, they show they can't be trusted, and they're going to kick you when you're down. So what's the point in talking with them? But what he's done now is he's tried to turn people against me because I don't talk to him anymore. And this is from someone that pretends to be whiter than white. I've had some dodgy things in comedy, but I feel that with comedians, I can see that there's less of the pretend to be whiter than white and being arseholes.
I mean, this is why I say drama's my job, not my hobby.
Yes. I know that I'm just trying to talk about what goes on.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. This is the kind of stuff that I tend to try and stay away from if I can. Like, if I see that anyone is looking like they're less than genuine, then I will kind of limit my time with them if I can, just because that's too much drama for me. But there's definitely been stuff in like the cabaret community where there's been like a lot of kind of witch hunts and like dogpiling on people with regards to just certain scandals coming out that like basically I don't want to say too much because it's like I don't want to bring all the drama back. It's like this is stuff that's like gone back from like years and years ago, and I'm like not like super gossipy. But I remember there was like a particular situation where one of the members of the cabaret community had been accused of something, and I kind of knew them personally, and I was just like, oh, well, they've never been like that with me. But like, when it's like you can't really say too much because it's just like you kind of don't want the heat to come on yourself as well.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, oh, I never found them to be like that way. And like obviously, like always believe women and stuff. Like always believe women when they tell you stuff like that. But I just remember when it happened, a lot of people were going, I've heard this thing about this person, I've heard that thing about this person. And like some of the people that were saying stuff, like I'd been in the room when they'd said that stuff had been happening. And I was like, well, I was literally there and that's not what happened. So I just feel like, people were like riling each other up and stuff.
Hmm.
So there certainly is like a lot of drama that goes down in, I think, all three of the communities.
Yeah.
Like separately. But I think that's just what happens in life as well. Like not that we're like separate from life, but like, like not that happens in like non-performance life as well. But I think maybe it's just like a little bit more elevated in performance scenes, just because everyone does tend to be a little bit more dramatic. Like I know you were saying like about like working in like offices and stuff, but like where I work, so I work in like theatre, so like everyone that I work with is like an ex-performer or still performs, so everyone's just a little bit more dramatic anyway.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you're like, oh, you know what it's like working in a regular office, and I'm like, no.
Oh, okay.
I work in an office, but everyone is just like, "Ba, ba, ba, ba. Let me make everyone laugh. When can I be the focus of attention?"
Just narcissist. No, I'm joking.
Not
I'm joking.
narcissist.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh my Lord.
Well, I've done a bit of research and it's so there's let's have a look at it and I want to see what you think of it. So and I really am interested. So this is the traits that I found doing a bit of research. So the 9 traits of NPD: grandiosity,
And what's an MPD?
fantasies, narcissistic personality,
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
an inflated sense of self-importance or unrealistic assessment of one's abilities, fantasies, frequent fantasies about success, perfection, or power, superiority, believing in one's own superiority, need for admiration, entitlement, a sense that one deserves special treatment, exploitation, a willingness to exploit others for personal gain, lack of empathy, envy, arrogance. Now, I think there's 3 of them that I have. The arrogance, I think maybe a bit of lack of empathy, and definitely a need for admiration. That's me.
Oh, so you're saying that I need to tell you how much of a narcissist
No, I'm
I
joking.
am?
No, I'm joking. But what are your thoughts and what are your thoughts and what those traits as a whole from you saying that all performers are narcissists.
No, I don't think that's true because I do think that like there are a lot of performers who genuinely just get pleasure from making other people laugh and they don't necessarily want to. I'm talking like comedy specifically. Like there are a lot of people that just want to make people laugh and aren't like,
Oh, I
oh,
love
I'm
it.
amazing. Like there's a lot of kind of self-depreciation in comedy as well. Like I feel like if you're too much like I'm amazing, then people aren't gonna find you funny.
I no, I love the circuit. I love people in it. Even those, yeah, I like comedy. I like the people in it more than anything else. And for the most part, I think most people in comedy are lovely. There is a few things here and there, but yeah, I love it.
I mean, there's always like, there's always what's the word? The diversity of character types.
but
And,
for the
yeah.
most part, I love the fact that there's everything in comedy in terms of the people you get in it. There is all sorts in it, and more so than any other thing that I've been involved in. That's what I like about comedy. The
Oh yeah,
absolute
I always
madness of
say
all the
that it's
people in
like
it.
I always say that it's like our high school, like the whole scene. And like the diff like however long you've been doing it or like whatever level you are is like a different grade in high school. So like like year 7 to like year 13. And there's still like the groups, the nerds, the cool kids, the plastics. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
There is all different cliques in comedy. Yes,
yeah,
I think that's always going to happen, though, isn't it?
yeah.
But what do I want to talk about? What What's the one thing that you don't like about any of the performing worlds that we haven't just said that you'd like to change?
I mean, I wish that it paid enough that I didn't have to do my day job. Like just from like, the beginning. Like I wish that like there weren't like, like the bringer shows, like which is like if anyone is listening who doesn't do comedy, it's where you have to bring a friend to perform at an open mic and they won't let you perform if you don't bring a friend. Um, like obviously doing all of that kind of, makes it worth it at the end, but I just feel like and I feel like a lot of other people will feel the same way. But it's like if it paid a little bit more from like earlier on, where like promoters are getting paid to put on the shows, but they're not paying you. Like if it paid a little bit more, it would mean that you could like work your day job less and then like have more time to be able to create more and, write more and like improve yourself. Like at the moment, like for me, like I'm kind of breaking into like doing like semi-pro shows and stuff. And I'm getting paid a little bit, but I'm still doing like, 4 shows a week and with like a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, that's really draining. But like obviously everyone goes through that if you're trying to actually, succeed at what you're doing, you're kind of, going in there and just being like, all right, let's do this, like, but yeah, I wish it would, you know, I wish it was easier to do, but then at the same time, nothing is really easy in this life anymore, is it? Like, thank you, late stage capitalism. Like, it's like you hear all these stories about like, comedians back in the 80s and 90s where they'd be like on the dole and then they'd just be like going to do like gigs in the evening and like they would live in, cheaper housing and stuff. Whereas like at the moment, I just feel like a lot of people are like working day jobs that don't pay so well, spending so much money on rent, and then going out and like doing their performance in the evening. Like I know like professional comedians that still have their day jobs because nothing is paying enough anymore.
Oh, even professional comedians yeah, well, no, I'm not surprised by that. It's no, I'm not surprised either.
Yeah, so like I'm not saying like make it. I'm not being like, oh my God, I wish it was so easy. Because like obviously, like, working at a craft can be hard and stuff, but I just wish it was easier to have the time and energy to do that. Whereas like at the moment it just feels like I think people would like kind of average paying salaries at the moment, like for their day jobs, because comedy isn't apparently like from what I've heard, like, you know, even like the pay for like pro gigs and stuff hasn't changed for like years and years. Like it's still like if you're getting paid £100 to do something, you're still getting paid £100 when it's like 10 years later. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's harder to give yourself that time to be creative.
Yeah.
But like, I wish that was something that was like just a universal thing, so it could like, like nourish a new kind of a new batch of comedians and performers. And because like work, because like obviously I work in the arts. I've been working in the arts for like years and years, and you just see that like everything is turning into like a kind of playground for the rich, really. And like obviously they're not the only people that have stories to tell.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
No, no.
Oh my God, don't say
uh,
that.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, the biggest, the point what I get from what you said there is that, yeah, things, there needs to be a way of making things a more fair background where it's based
Yeah,
on
like
your
equitable.
ability and the work you put in rather than your background or how much money you have.
Yeah. Like rather than like people who have like really well paid jobs are like able to just, flit here, there, and everywhere and like do all this stuff. And even with stuff as, as like small as like getting a train somewhere. Like if I see gigs advertised and it's in like Manchester or like Liverpool, so like I'm London based. If I see somewhere that's like Bristol, I'm having to check the train prices before I even like, you know, think of applying for that job, like that performance job, because it's just like, is it going to cost me like, £300 to get up there and back, and it's only paying like 50?
That's, yeah, that's a big thing. A comedian friend of mine at the last gig that I put on in Rains Park yesterday, for a paid gig, he said that he was getting a, I'm not gonna say his name, but he had a gig that was about 40 quid and he ended up paying £70 on the travel. So it's a bit of, yeah, that's mad.
Because that's what it was like doing burlesque as well. Like I remember, like, but the thing is, like, it was even back then, even like 2017, it was like cheaper. Because I remember like 2016 going up to Liverpool, going up to Manchester, it was costing me like 50 quid or something, and like I was getting paid 50 quid, which to me I was like, I'm working on my stage time, I'm working on my craft, I'm like I'm improving myself. It's worth it, even if I'm having to pay for like a hotel and stuff. But now it's just like everything is too expensive. So it's just like prohibiting like creativity and people who want to be creative. And I do think that like it puts like a mental drain on you as well. So it's like if you're feeling like all I'm doing is working to live, no, living to work, live, wait, live to work and work to live. Yeah, all I'm doing is like living to work, and I'm like not making enough money to like do anything. Then it really just kind of puts a dampener on, you know, actually expressing yourself creatively. Sorry, that was like so dark,
I,
too depressing. I'm sorry.
that's fine. Um, Now, if any comedian is looking up right now, or if anyone's look wants to find out about you, and how do they find out about you, and what's a quote that you've would like to live the rest of your life by, and what is the biggest lesson you've learned in life recently?
I might have to ask you to repeat like chunks of that, by the way.
Okay,
That
so
was
what?
very long, and my brain can only focus on like one thing at a time. So my quote already. I've said it like twice. Drama's my job, not my hobby. Like
Okay.
for a start, keep that on the stage. That's like my quote to live by. Um, when you say like looking up to me in that, do you mean like on socials?
Okay.
No?
No, what do you mean?
Repeat the first part of the question. Sorry.
Someone that's, what is the biggest lesson you've learned in life that you like to pass on?
This is gonna sound like so lame, and it's gonna make me sound like a boomer, but I don't mean it in a boomer way. Like be kind to people. Like, be genuine, basically. Like don't just suck up to people because you think that they're like gonna get you somewhere. Like I always find that really cringe. Like I think like people can tell if you're being genuine or not. And this is like coming into like the performance world. Like this is what I'm talking about. Like sometimes you see it when you do a gig and like the head like there's people like sucking up to the headliner and it's like just be normal. Like especially like the job that I work, my day job that I work in, I do meet like a lot of in inverted commas like celebrities and stuff, and you obviously you can't get like starstruck every single time. So you just kind of have to just remember that everyone is human. So and everyone has like feelings, emotions. So yeah, just be genuine and be kind and don't be shady.
But some shady people get ahead though. No,
They do.
it's
But like I always just like the thing is like so okay, so for like example, I when I used to work in a musical theatre. And I used to work with this girl and we were both ushers. She actually was a casting assistant as well as an usher. And sometimes the actors would come in and they'd be really rude to us. And then once they found out she's a casting assistant, suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, hi babe, hi. Like, do you know what I mean? But she was like, I will remember this person for being rude to me in the first place. So it's like just treat people with respect. Like
quite a
respect is like
headache.
such a big thing. Like for me, like I in my day job, I'm a manager and I have a team. And like one of my big things is that I I don't treat them like they're disposable. I treat them I as much as I can. I try and treat them with respect and kindness because, you know, I've been in that position before. So it's just like, yeah, respect, kindness. And not in a be kind way, because you know, whenever someone goes be kind, it's always like be kind to me, and I'm going to say some really bigoted things. I mean, like, you know, just be nice, be kind, be respectful, be friendly if you can.
Ellen DeGeneres, is that what you were referring to? No, I'm joking.
I was like, what's she done? She's shady, isn't she? Like,
No, no, the thing that people got annoyed about is that she preached the be kind message, but she was caught by other people. I don't know if I wasn't there, I wasn't,
I'm
but I
just
was
talking
doing the
about like,
opposite.
I'm just talking about like, you know, on Facebook, where it's always the people that say like, or like, I don't even take Facebook, that's such an out of date thing, but I'm just saying it because it's like a very boomer thing to say like be kind. Like on socials, you'll find out as soon as someone says be kind on like the comment section of something, if you go into their profile, it's them just basically saying like the most bigoted thing that you've ever heard in your life, like on their profile all the time. It's just they don't want people to be horrible to them. They're like free speech, but only if I have no consequences and I can say whatever I want to say.
That was a funny thing that you said to a comedian who I was talking to with yesterday about talking about cancel culture, in that people want to say what they want, but they don't want the consequences.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
that's the whole thing with free speech. It's like free speech, but only for me if I'm saying horrible things.
but no, it is what it is, I think. Yeah. For anyone that's listening right now, how do they find out about you? Do they find out you on WhatsApp? Do they find out about you on Snapchat? Do they find out
What?
about you on
I'm not
Facebook?
giving up
Do
my
they
phone
find out
number.
about you on Instagram? Do they find out about you on YouTube? Do they
So
find you on Twitter? What's your thing?
all my
I don't know.
socials, all my socials are Joy Har Harvey. So JoyHarvey. Joy Har Harvey. Um, I do actually have a show coming up. Am I allowed to mention it?
Yeah.
So I have a show coming up with Emmy Files, my friend at the Croydon Fringe. It's on the 1st of November. So Friday the 1st of November at the venue, Middle Street in Croydon. It's called Emmy and Joy Don't Like Boys, but the N and the T and don't are in brackets because we do like boys. Yeah, so that's coming up. So if you go on my Instagram, then there's a link in the bio to get tickets for that, which we're really excited about. And I think we're potentially taking it to other fringes. So if you miss out on this one, you might get to see it again, but I wouldn't risk it. Come and see the one at Croydon.
Okay. Cool. And we could leave it on this one final thing.
Yeah.
What has been a mad and crazy and scary thing that's happened to you recently over the last year or two that's taught you the most about life or performing or
Mad and
funny?
crazy or funny. And is this in performance or in life in general?
Either.
Either. That's a toughie because I've not really, you know what, I'm not a drama person. Um, Mad crazy. I had a nose job like 2 years ago. That was a bit of a mad thing to do. Didn't like it didn't really teach me anything though. It's like the maddest thing that's happened to me in the past couple of years. I'm a very boring bitch. Am I allowed to swear? I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
I'm a very boring bitch. I do like nothing. All I do is like play video games.
No worries. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed Joy, and I'll see you guys at the next episode. The next episode should be a comedian from New Zealand tomorrow. I will be chatting to them tomorrow, but I'm just confirming. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed the episode. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Thanks for having me.